What's going on, Internet? nerdlocker.com back here with more comic book reviews. And I'm going to start off this week with Amazing X-Men #2. And damn you, Jason Aaron. At the end of the last issue, I really thought that we were going to get like this big moment, Wolverine and Nightcrawler reuniting, and sadly that does not happen this issue. But they're definitely building up toward it, and I will probably just cry my eyes out when it happens because I miss Nightcrawler so much. We get to see Wolverine and North Star in heaven, and Firestar, Storm, and Iceman are in hell. And they're both fighting Azazel's pirate demon people, which is kind of cool. He's taken different terrible people throughout history when he was in hell and made them captains of his crazy Banff pirate ships. And I'm not really sure his objective yet, but I like where this is going. Ed McGuinness drawing this is just perfect. I love his artwork. It fits the story so well, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see more of this. I heard Wolverine and the X-Men is ending, so I'm assuming this will kind of take its place, since now Uncanny and All New and a lot of the other books are all focusing towards Cyclops and his team. Be pretty cool to see this kind of keep with all the characters we've grown to love. I love this book. It's great. We're 2 issues in. I can't wait to read the next issue. I can't wait. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there, nerds. So I'm back again, and I got to read Quantum and Woody #6. Again, you have to know I'm a huge fan of Quantum and Woody. Huge fan of what James Asmus is doing with this book and the reboot from, the 90s. Once again, Quantum and Woody are at odds, but Quantum's got a job, which is pretty cool. His old employer is using him in his new role. Woody has to tag along because they got to tap the bracelets every 24 hours. A little more develops than what we think. Woody's a little deeper than we thought, although we're not exactly sure why he's doing what he's doing, so he could be same old Woody. What do we know? Eric was excited at first to do this, but it quickly became apparent that this is a dangerous mission and not everything is above board. One of the things I'm not exactly sure right now with how James is writing this is people know who Quantum is and by relation who Woody is. I'm not sure exactly how many people know, but it seems like enough people know that it causes some problems, and that's what's going on now. It could go anywhere, and obviously I don't think Quantum and Woody are going to die or anything crazy like that, but they're in a bad way, and they're going to have to get out of it, and I'm excited for where this can lead. This one's sort of the middle of the road. It's setting things up to where we can go and where I think the series is going to go and the tone for the rest of the way. So this one I'm only going to give 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls, but I'm looking forward to what they do next.
All right, I got to read Earth 2, #18. We still don't know who Batman is, but this issue just keeps adding a ton of mystery to who he is, who he could be. I don't even make a guess because at one time I'm like, oh, maybe it's this guy. And then kind of pointing some things out that I'm like, it's most definitely not that guy. So I'm interested to see what happens. He says there's 3 people. Last time we saw Batman, he was in this chamber where they had all these crazy villains and stuff in basically a stasis. And he says there's 3 people we need to get. And the first one we get is Aqua Woman. Second one we get is Jimmy Olsen, who apparently has superpowers, and he's like this crazy techno genius guy, and he's connected to like the internet. It's pretty cool. And the third one I'm going to leave for you guys because it's a pretty interesting keeps adding mystery to who he is. Meanwhile, we have Superman just tearing people apart, all in Darkseid's name. He does something huge here with Apocalypse, and I'm just interested to see if this is something that ties in Earth 2 to the main Earth that we're dealing with, all like the regular standard Earth 1. So I'm interested to see what that is because there's Darkseid heavy and everything looks the same as it did in the first Justice League run. But either way, I like Elseworlds, and I like that this is still like a continuity of another world, and we're getting all this information. There's all this backstory we don't know. I love comic books like that. That's what I love to read, and this is perfect. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. You guys should be reading this.
So I also got to read Detective Comics #26. Now, we got to meet John Layman at San Diego Comic-Con this past year, and it was great meeting him, hearing what he's doing with the book and where he's going to take it. And sadly, I think all that's coming to an end. But bigger things are coming to the Batman world, so that is exciting. As for this book, one of the things I do like about Detective Comics is that it's sort of a monster villain of the week sort of thing. Yes, I know it's not every episode is a different, or every issue is a different one, but it sort of builds that way. But the bad side of that is you don't always get the best, the cream of the crop villain-wise. And in my opinion, Man-Bat isn't the greatest, but even more so, She-Bat's, whatever. So that's what we're dealing with here, and they actually tell a cool story. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It opens with sort of a funny series as teenagers go, and hey, here's the Batcave. What? The one that's funded by Bruce Wayne? It's like, no, silly, just a cave full of bats. And I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. But beyond that, it's interesting. They bring back in Man-Bat and need to use him in order to sort of solve the whole problem and puzzle. And what's nice is they do relate back to several issues ago where the whole Man-Bat fiasco happened and there was the outbreak. So that was cool. It's interesting how Batman takes everything into account. There's a minor twist. But once again, Man-Bat isn't my favorite. So it was an interesting read, but I'd rather see a different villain, a better villain, a bigger villain. But that's what you get. So I'm going to give it middle of the road, 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Batman Superman number 6. And I have to say, the first story arc I really enjoyed a lot, going to Earth 2 and dealing with that Batman and Superman over there. This story arc I'm not that fond of. I just don't like... I feel like with Superman and Batman books, you know, outside of the flagship titles, even sometimes in the titles, people try to overdo the stories. They just try to add so much underneath it. And like, this is Batman, Superman. Everything outrageous has to happen in this. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. This book just kind of seems like there's a lot going on right now, and there doesn't need to be. I will say the cool thing is you're getting to see each character kind of grow on their own, like kind of the way they think about each other and the way they talk to each other, and even like their strengths and weaknesses. Because you really get to see Superman thinking to himself of like how cocky Batman is with wanting to take Mongol on by himself. And that's kind of where, after that, the book kind of loses me. Just the whole video game aspect of them being like controlled by Jimmy Olsen and a bunch of other. It's losing me. So I'll finish out this storyline, and I just hope the next one's a little bit better. But I'm going to give this one 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Sorry.
And finally, I got to read Terminator Salvation number 1. I'm a huge Terminator fan. I love all the movies, including Rise of the Machines, including Salvation. I was so bummed that it sort of ended there and the reception for that movie wasn't great. So I was thrilled when Dark Horse released a comic book about it. It's very interesting. Most of the book sets up with them in the future, but then bouncing back to a past. We don't know exactly what time it is yet, but it's very interesting because there's a lot of setup. But once they start revealing things and you start remembering, because it's been a while since I saw Salvation, I think more people are familiar with the original and Judgment Day. So it took my memory a little bit to jog it, but they're dealing with Dr. Serena Kogan, which has a very minor part in Salvation, but that was a Helena Bonham Carter character in the very beginning. And it's like, what? She was dying. I don't understand. What's going on? Awesome way they bring her into the story. She's in the future. You're like, holy cow. And one of the main things that the future John Connor is talking about is we know the past, so we know what we have to do. The machines, their database started here. They don't know what happened prior to that. And every machine we destroyed before it was able to ever link up with Skynet. So they don't know. That's our advantage. Well, clearly something has changed. And that is a great part of the story. I can't wait to see where this goes. And there's another twist, as they were able to send people back basically into the first Terminator movie, is kind of what they're alluding to, but not really, because the human element that goes back is looking for a serial killer, which is like, okay, interesting, nice twist. I can't wait to see where this goes. Absolutely loved this first book. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Swamp Thing number 26, and if you've been reading Swamp Thing, you know that Alec Holland is not the Avatar right now. It's Jason Woodrue, and he's out to show that he beat Alec, and he deserves to be the Avatar, and he's doing some crazy stuff. Alec is still narrating the book because as an old Avatar, he's still able to watch and do all this stuff, but he can't do anything about it. He just has to sit by and watch, and it's killing him. But the new Avatar says to himself, you know what, I got to prove that the Green chose me for a reason. This is what I'm going to do, and we get to see a cool little fight with Animal Man. You're seeing him kind of realize his boundaries as the Avatar for the Green, but then you see his total potential and what he's capable of. I kind of like this. I like that you have Alec in this helpless situation, and he just has to watch. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before he's back. But honestly, this is one of those books that I was worried about when, Scott Snyder started it. Anytime a big writer starts a book, when they leave, I'm always worried that it's kind of going to get lost in the shuffle and just not amazing. But this is still really good. I definitely suggest picking it up. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey, Aaron here with my review of Great Pacific number 12. I feel like this book has really fallen under the radar with Image titles. I feel like sometimes I'm the only person still reading it. That said, everyone should be reading it because it's a great title. In this issue, it's kind of putting the close to the second chapter of the Great Pacific Saga. Chaz closes up his deals in New York, and you can definitely tell that they're ending the second trade paperback. That said, there's going to be a second trade paperback coming back, so get on that. I have to say, I was really satisfied on the way they ended this. Really, really big cliffhanger, and I'm really, really excited to where they're going to go, and it's going to be a while till I get to find out, but I'm going to give this issue 3.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Amazing Spider-Man 700.1. Oh my God, what? Does that mean we're going to get an issue where we get to see like maybe something that happened when the whole Doc Ock thing went down, or maybe Peter Parker and his brain trying to build himself back up? No, we just get flashback Peter Parker stories, which was kind of a disappointment because it's like, I don't know, reading anything else that really doesn't have to do with like current continuity. It's just, I don't know, it's people saying, I miss Peter Parker. Oh, here you go, here's some stories that don't really matter much because he's not around right now. So kind of bummed with this entire book. I'm really sorry to say, and I hope that's not too harsh, but I'm just not digging it. I really like what Superior Spider-Man is doing. I kind of like the couple issues ago, a little flash of something crawling out of the rubble in Doc Ock's brain. Oh my God. But this was just not what I was expecting it to be, and yeah, sorry. I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.